I started this graded wash by putting clean water on my paper, but the brush I used turned out to be slightly dirty, so you can see a hint of Payne's gray that keeps spreading despite my efforts to clean and re-wet the brush. Also, I took a chance by starting this wash without first masking the jar and that dark shadow, which will both smudge and bleed badly if they get even a little bit wet. I finally switched to an actual clean brush to apply more water and then wipe off most of the contaminated water, taking care to turn the paper towel over so the paint it picked up doesn't get transferred back to the paper on the next swipe. Then I mix a little quinacridone magenta with Winsor yellow to make a deeper yellow that is a color complement to the violet gray shading I'm going to add in the corner to help create a more vibrant effect. The yellow goes on a little too saturated, I think, so I re-wet the brush to thin it out. Some of the dark paint from that first dirty brush has meanwhile been migrating to the edge of this wet area, so I pick up more clean water with a different brush and use that to get rid of the dark edge that was starting to form at the dry-wet boundary. And then I use another big brush to put a mix of Payne's gray and quinacridone magenta in the corner and blend that with the yellow. When you're creating a large wash like this, it helps to try to keep the whole thing uniformly wet to prevent hard drying lines and paint blooms, or cauliflowers as they're sometimes called, from forming. I added some more of that magenta gray mix to darken the corner, and there's a hard line already forming you can see there on the wet-dry boundary in the middle right section, so I apply some clean water with yet another brush to get a softer color gradation. I'm kind of running out of time to tweak this wash because the parts that have started to dry are likely to misbehave if I keep adding new water anywhere. I do a little more blending and carefully wipe the inside of the curve with a clean paper towel to lighten it a little, and then go one more time over that area with clean water, moving the brush right up to the edge of, but not quite touching, those dark shadows. Then I use a hairdryer on a high heat, low air setting and just keep it moving around. If one area dries too quickly, you can get a hard line forming at the boundary of that area because surface tension attracts more paint to the edges. So I like to make sure the whole thing dries pretty much uniformly. I do a similar graded wash on the left side of the painting, where the challenge is working around and through those shadows that extend in that direction. I'm going to speed this part up now. If you've watched this whole thing to the end, you are a watercolor diehard, and I thank you for your commitment and perseverance. And I hope you'll let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks.